We're going to start talking about the last days. What is happening, what to expect. I told them at the beginning of this, them being the media team, I said, look, this might be a 55-part series. I don't know. But we're just going to dive into it, amen. We're going to take as long as we need to take. And so today, we're going to be dealing with the rapture of the church. Some people may say, well, I don't believe in that. Well, you can have that belief. Doesn't make it right. And there'll be people out there, there's all kinds of information floating around, but I hope that after today, you're going to have a little I hope you have a lot better understanding of what's going to be happening in the end times, the last days, and the rapture of the King, right? And when Jesus came, he turned the world upside down. And he's going to do it again. So Jesus comes, we see that. Jesus fulfills the law of Christ, all right? And then we start the last days at Pentecost, okay? Pentecost is the beginning of the last days. And God was so precise, we know it happened at 9 a.m. on the year 33 A.D. So if somebody says, when do the last days start? You can say 9 a.m., year 33 A.D. We have that on some pretty good historical evidence. There's a few people that are saying, well, it might be plus or minus, but look, historically speaking, we're pretty sure that is a firm date, okay? Now, when you hear people say last days, you hear people say things like this. Well, we've been talking about the last days for 2,000 years, brother. Well, they're partly right. Because the last days is referring to an age, like the Iron Age, the Bronze Age, okay, the Ice Age, all that stuff. We're talking about an age. It's all of this time in here. And you see, we are right here, all right? We're going to explain this further. We're going to get down to some nitty-gritty, some detail. Like I said, you're going to understand what was going on and what is going on and what's fixing to go on. In verse 15 it says, those who are still living. In the Greek, it talks about those who are alive and remain. They're vibrant. They're not lifeless. They're not dead. Pretty self-explanatory. The thing I want you to hear in this is that they are vibrant. They are thriving and not just surviving. Okay? Now, when I say that, that doesn't disqualify those who are surviving. Okay? But I want you to see something that's going to become clear in a minute. That Jesus is looking for a people who are spiritually connected to him, that are vibrant. They're excited about this relationship that they have. They're not just sitting on their... Listen, verse 3. Don't be fooled by what they say, for that day will not come until there is a great rebellion against God. A great rebellion. So what he's talking about here in 1 Thessalonians, he's saying, listen, God's going to come back, and he's looking for those of us who are have remained and we're alive. Okay? He's looking for those people. And he's saying, listen, there's going to be a defection from the faith. I don't know if you've been watching the same news I've been watching. I don't know if you've been on the same YouTube I've been on. But there looks like there is a huge falling away from God. We are in an era of time right now that Christianity is actually in the decline. All throughout that last days, throughout all those ages, it's been on the incline. And now it's starting to kind of, some say it's plateauing. Some say it has when you start talking about mathematical things, statistically, well, it's only 1% or 2%. That's not very much, and blah, 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 whatever, okay? But it looks like, from historically speaking, Christianity is somewhat in a decline. And you have to define... Luke 18:8 says this, I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man comes, will he really find faith on the earth? He's asking a question, and we think that's kind of dumb. Of course he's going to find faith on the earth. We're here, right? So remember, Old Testament types and shadows, New Testament revelation, okay? So we're seeing this. Jesus is asking, will I find any faith? To find faith, Jesus says this, the Greek. And forgive my Greek, horisko is the Greek word. It means to discover, especially after searching, usually made due to an intense investigation. Now, here's the kicker. So in the Greek, if you study the Greek, if you study the verses I just gave you, and I highly suggest that you do, when you look at it, there is a word there called ho or he, all right? H-O-H-E. And it means it's a definite article. Now, I did not like English, okay? So for you who want to start diagramming all these things and all that kind of stuff, have at it. I got to use smart people stuff, right? I just borrow from them. But this definite article is used in this phrase, and it makes the translation more accurate. Will I find the faith? Not will I find faith, but will I find the faith? Will I find the faith? Not will I find faith, but will I find the faith? The faith. In other words, when I come back, will I find a church that is still teaching the faith? Will I find a people that are still believing the faith? Vibrant. Those who remain and are alive, those who are vibrant, those who have stayed the course and were vibrant. Well, brother, I just don't know. Listen, I'm going to drop some heavy revelation on you here the next couple of 3 weeks. I'm telling you, some of you are going to be like, I don't know if I like you anymore. But it's okay. In Christ, they're going to rise up. You ain't just old Tom. You ain't just old Beth. You're a king and a ruler getting raised up. And then it says we're going to be caught up. This is one of them words that took me about 30 minutes to say. Harpagisometh. Again, it's a kind of a compound word, but it says to seize, to snatch, to take away, to snatch something suddenly, to snatch out of danger just in the nick of time. This is what's fixing to happen. When I say fixing, okay, like I said, good Arkansas vernacular. When we had that timeline, we were talking about the last days. We were talking about those days that are leading up to the end of this age. So it says that we're going to meet him in the air. Apentis, to a meeting, the reception, to an encounter, a technical word used for the reception of a newly arrived official or royalty. Guess what? You're supposed to be it right now. But when we get caught up in the air, all of heaven, you say, who's going to be noticing that we're kings and rulers? I thought Jesus was. He is. But guess what? The angels are going to be subject to us. We are going to rule and reign with Christ. So he is, so shall we be, right? On this earth. Just look at this room, the diversity. We've got young, old, brand new babies. We got all this stuff, right? We got, like I said, some with hair, some without hair. I better leave it alone right there. Our bodies will be perfected in an instant. I believe we will have physical bodies. We're not going to be giant babies with diapers floating around. We're probably not going to be playing harps. We will be making music. We will be worshiping. This is the rapture of the church that we're rapidly speeding towards. Rapidly. And like I said, the next couple of weeks, we're going to start diving into what are these last days? What do they look like? I wanted to set this foundation for you of what is the rapture of the church before we start talking about these things so you'll know